Grid is live. Initiate.
Excellent!
I'm not interrupting anything, am I?
Bogus.
Are you telling me that you built a time machine? Out of a DeLorean?
My name's Norman Bates.
Oh, man, I'm so excited. I'm in, Mom.
Merry Christmas, movie home! We came, we saw, we kicked his ass.
I'm just not the hero type, clearly.
Everything's under control. Situation normal.
Oh, well. Let me go in and say hi.
Hail to the king, baby.
Well, hello, you beautiful people out there in Pajukan land. It is Sunday, January 31st, 2021. That is right. The single most interminably long month in the history of humankind is about to come to an end.
Is this because it was my birthday?
Yeah, fuck you. And I can think of no better way to say goodbye to January than hanging out with us tonight. I am, of course, Maxwell Haddad, and with me, as always, is the namesake of the network, the one and only Mr. PJ Campbell. How are you, my friend?
I'm good, man. It's good to see you. I hope everyone's doing well out there. It's been a long month. It's been a long year. I'm pretty sure it's actually still March 2020.
That is possible, although there is one significant difference.
I'm a year older now.
Is an adult in charge. Yeah, you're a year older. That's exactly what I was going to say. Congratulations. Mazel tov on your birthday.
Yeah.
And look, your time off, your break from that other trivia thingamabobby you do is coming to an end because the draft was a couple days ago. The factions are set, and it's almost time for war.
And guess what? That's all great. We're not going to talk about that here.
Nope, we're not here to talk about that. We're here.
That's the one thing. I don't want to hear anyone fucking talk about the draft because you guys can go literally anywhere else to talk about the draft. That is not what we're talking about here. That is no shade, of course. That is just because we don't do Schmodown content.
After last week's special Survivor Island, the Office edition of the Unwind, we are back to our regularly scheduled bullshit.
Yeah, pretty much.
This is the Seinfeld of podcasts, in so much as it's a show about nothing. But before we get started talking about nothing, we have some really fun stuff coming up on the channel the next few days. All right, look, I have some bad news.
What's the bad news?
Tomorrow night's watch-along of a movie that apparently no one wanted to watch has thusly been canceled.
Yes, it's true.
However, I know you like watching me watch movies, so you can find me on Abby Friel's channel alongside Janine...
Traitor.
and Frankie Numbers watching the one and only High School Musical, available on Disney+. I'm really excited to do that. I'm happy to be a Benedict Arnold for one night and do content on another network. Look, it happens. I'm sorry. I love you. Mm-hmm. Tuesday night, we are doing, yes, I know it's February, we're doing our January 2021 Patron AMA in February. Don't worry, we will do 2 in February to make up for it. For any patron, $2 and up. Yes, we do have a Patreon. Check it out. See if there's a tier that's right from you. Now is as good a time as any to join the Patreon. Our $10 and up members have already gotten early access to the new episode of Box, which I hear has quite a cliffhanger, as well as our monthly audio commentary, which was sent out today, which was of Shane Black's The Nice Guys. Yep. Last month we did Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. This month we did The Nice Guys. I'm not sure if you announced what you're doing next month. I hope not.
We didn't. We had some ideas, but nothing was said.
Great. So check out the Patreon, see if there's a tier that's right for you. Speaking of Box 5, Box Bath and Beyond releases to the public on Tuesday, featuring a silent special guest. It's nonsense. I'm sorry. What else? Friday night, we are doing a watch-along of Once. The patrons voted on this beautiful Irish musical film. That's going to be a lot of fun. Join us for that. Let's see, what else do we got going on? On Saturdays, we do our WandaVision chat on the Water Cooler show. And Book Nook was a huge success. Thank you all who watched it. We've announced the second book for Book Nook Episode 2. It's going to be Children of Blood and Bone by Tomi Adeyemi. That show is hosted by myself and Dwayne Burke. That'll probably be the last Tuesday of the month. I think that's the schedule we're going to try and stick to, the final Tuesday of every month. And Chris Clark provided us with this great graphic. Let's take a look ahead at Sunday Soundtracks, our Wednesday night show. And Chris wanted us to note that all donations and Streamlabs received during the month to Suddenly Soundtracks will go directly to the American Heart Association. So this week is different. It's going to actually be Thursday at 8 Pacific, 11 Eastern. Whitney Seibold, Mark Hoyk, and Alonzo Duralde join Chris to talk about the unsung and underseen musical The Apple. The following week, Eric Barnes, Jen Kemp, and is that Linus?
That is Linus, yes.
Linus Babcock talk about the Muppet movie. Then on February 17th, Tim Franco takes over Suddenly Soundtracks to talk about favorite punk songs. And finally, on February 24th, they're doing one of my favorite musicals of recent times, Kinky Boots. Now, I mentioned we have patrons. I'm going to go ahead and play the clip that thanks our patrons, and then we'll get started with the bullshit. How's that sound?
Sounds good to me. Let's go.
Here we go. Look, our continued and overwhelming thank you to our patrons. You guys' support is overwhelming. We could not do this without you. Now, without further ado, we have some guests tonight. This first guy is a guy who's on here a lot. He needs no introduction and is really not worthy of one in my book. He has a beard. It's Sean.
This fucking guy.
Hey.
Really?
How you guys
really?
doing?
God damn it. Nope. He goes away now. You see him, like, trying to bring his shit in here with his new soundboard, thinking it's so cool. Should we bring him back now and see if he actually comes back?
I introduced him. He should say... Hi, Sean. How are you, buddy? That's more appropriate, yeah.
Yeah, that's much more appropriate for you.
Yeah.
Cool.
Oh.
Ooh, we have Gothmog, the Great and Powerful.
Our next guest. Now, so I see a comment. I see a comment here on the... Look, I said we were back to our regular schedule bullshit. I see a comment in the chat here saying, are we not playing the Book Nook theme song during Book Nook announcements? The answer is no. However, our next guest, if you like that Book Nook theme song, which I certainly do, our next guest is probably the best composer I know. He composed the Book Nook theme song. He's a super rad dude. He hosts a Godzilla podcast. He's a friend of the channel. It's Mr. David B.
Hi, David B.
There it is.
What's up, guys?
Only 20 minutes late.
I'm so proud of Sean right now.
That's not what we rehearsed.
That's what I requested.
He waited. He played that like a whole 20 minutes. He waited that out, and then he was like, now I'll do it, just to make Maxwell proud of me once I actually bring David B in.
It's true. Okay, our next guest, I'm really excited. I've been friends with this guy for a long time now. He is one of my absolute favorite people in the online film fan, blogger, journalist space. I am so happy that he's finally making his debut on the PJ Campbell Network. He writes for WhySoBlue.com, We Live Entertainment. He has had bylines at Variety, which is super impressive. He also hosts the Out Now with Aaron and Abe podcast every week where they review new movies. They do commentaries and all sorts of fun stuff. It's one of my favorite podcasts. I've also been on a guest on that show many times. His name is Aaron Neuwirth. Here he is.
Hello. Hey.
What's up, Aaron? Welcome.
I am happy to be here. Thanks for that. That was a lot of credits I have, apparently, but okay, I'll go.
You're an accomplished gentleman.
Suddenly, the whole channel is actually, like, been taken up by the wings. Like, Aaron showed up, and it was like, hey, look, we're classy now.
Yeah, it's true.
We're all wearing pants. It's great.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, yep.
Are we?
This is going to go real well.
Are we, though? Well, how have you been doing, Aaron? It's so nice to have you here. I've been on your show a bunch, but This is the first time you've been on one of our shows.
One of these shows. I've been on one of your like old podcasts when you tried things out. But I know what you mean. And yeah, I'm doing well. It's been a month. But no, I've been keeping busy. That's for sure. There's been no shortage of stuff to do in my area. So between movies and work and life and everything. So.
And have you been disc golfing at all?
Yeah, we actually, my lovely girlfriend and I just went disc golfing for the first time since. Oh, we just looked it up too. It's been a while because of everything being terrible. I want to say June. Was it June? But yeah, it's nice to get outdoors, even in the winter.
For sure.
But, nicer.
Legitimately, since our viewers probably don't know much about you, one of my absolute favorite things about you is that you are an ardent disc golfer.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's one thing to watch movies a lot, but it's another thing to get out there and throw discs around in 2 small baskets full of chains.
Yeah, 100%.
Where's your favorite place to go disc golfing in your area?
Well, the course that my girlfriend and I have been going to a lot is this one down on the way to San Diego. It's down in Vista area. It's I'm in California, by the way. What's nice is it's not just a disc golf course; it's like a hike essentially because it's a very hilly course. So it's like you get like a full workout in addition to playing disc golf. So I've been really enjoying playing that course. It's a pretty challenging course too.
I've never played disc golf. My brother-in-law loves it. I did discus in high school. It's kind of the same thing, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, one you aim for chains, the other you just try to go a distance without hitting somebody and causing them to die. So it's about on the same level.
Sweet, I'm in.
Now, everyone at home who's watching and in the chat, I hope you're strapped in for a 4-hour dissertation on the difference between discus and disc golf. No. But look, we always like to start the show by going around the room and talking about our week in pop culture. Thank you, Sean. That means what did you watch? What did you play on video gaming? What did you read? Et cetera, et cetera. Let's start with David B. What was your week like?
Man, I actually did a lot and was able to consume a lot of stuff. So right off the bat, I started reading the book for next month's Book Nook.
Oh.
I'm on chapter 10, 11.
Children of Blood and Bone, right here. Get your
I
copy.
I got the hardcover too. I'm really liking it so far. No spoilers. There's a moment early in the book, I think like the end of chapter 8, when they say bye to their parent. And I literally physically teared up, and I was like, I'm in it. I'm in this book now. Like
Good.
the emotions in it and stuff was so real, and I love the themes and the fantasy and mysticism of it all. So I've been doing that. I finished Light of the Jedi as well this week.
I need to finish that so bad.
Really love that book. I immediately ordered the second. I pre-ordered the second book. It's supposed to be coming out next week.
I have it already.
I'm so
found it at my
upset that
Barnes & Noble.
PJ got an early copy.
Yeah.
By my favorite modern
Gray.
Star Wars author, Claudia Gray. Yeah.
I'm upset at PJ now too.
Oh yeah, a little bit. I mean, not that he's touched it or read it, but he has it.
What else? Watched the Godzilla movie. I think we watched on my podcast. We recently watched. Shoot, what was it? What did we recently watch? We watched so many already. I think it was Godzilla vs. Destroya, which was really good. I really liked that one a lot. That one's really fantastic. I convinced Sean to watch a certain Godzilla movie. I won't say what, because I'm sure it's on his week this week, and that was really great.
Destroy is the bad one. That's the emotional Godzilla movie.
That one's really at the end. Spoilers for like a 20-year-old movie.
You don't even go into what happens. We're gonna say it's a bad one because leave the mystery there.
It's sad because of the ending, but then it's like not sad because it kind of undoes it as well. But whatever.
It ends pretty much like Rogue One.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah, exactly. That's a great way of putting
Understood.
it. Yeah, it's a great way of putting it.
That's more fitting than I realized when I said it. It actually makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, it actually does. It's like a perfect fit. WandaVision. I've been keeping up with that. I watched episode 4. Really loved it. It's exactly what I wanted the show to be.
Yep.
And I'm a big Mark, so was watching the Royal Rumble right before I came in here. So. And I wrote a lot of music this week.
Yeah, like I said, this man's talent is boundless. I think he's just getting started. We're just beginning to see what he's going to accomplish. Like, if I were making a film tomorrow and I needed a score, I know exactly who I'd call.
Thank you.
No question about it.
I'd love to do that. We got to write our musical soon.
I mean, look, we've said it here time and time again. Box the musical is going to happen in 2021.
Yeah.
Yes. It is. It's just going to happen. Sean, I know, is really excited to have to belt out some countertenor melodies.
It's going to be weird.
All right,
We're
Aaron.
Put Mongolian throat singing in there just for you, Sean.
Oh, yeah. Sean, do you have a didgeridoo at home that you could perform on?
Or do you have the deluxe ottoman?
How's that?
Fair.
Pretty good.
Okay. All right, Aaron. What about you? What was your week in pop culture like? We're gonna need less of that.
Didgeridoo. It's been busy as normal. What do I? Let's start with games because there's only like one thing I play. That said, there's another thing that's certainly entered it. There's a new game called what is it? Shadow Cyborg. That's on. I'm playing on PS5. That's just like it's like designed to be like an old school like 8-bit side scroller action game, and it's super hard, just like many of these old school side scrollers. But it's pretty fun so far. I mean, I'm digging it. But the main thing I play is Rocket League. I just discovered it last year, even though I know it's been around for a while, and it's the easiest thing to be like, I guess I can play this for 10 minutes, and that turns into like 30 minutes, and then I like go to sleep or whatever. So that's been taking up a lot of my, not a lot of my time, but it's, as far as gaming goes, there are many games on my table that I'm not playing, and then I'm like, but I could just keep playing Rocket League, and that's what happens.
That's fair.
As far as, let's see, what am I reading? Mainly comics. The Robert Kirkman, Chris Samney comic, Fireproof. I'm really digging that. It's just like, hey, do you like kung fu movies and like fun banter? Then here's the comic for you, and that's what it's delivering on a monthly basis. So I'm excited. Yeah, it's going to be a new month in a second. I looked at my watch as if like, oh, now I know it's a new month, as if I didn't know that thing was already. As far as movies go, there's been a lot. It is, while I don't have like a pass specifically, it is Sundance this week, so I've had access to a few things from a press standpoint. And two things I'll just note because I don't want to take too much time with Sundance stuff. But I watched Summer of Soul, which is the Questlove directorial debut about this Harlem Cultural Festival that happened in 1969, around the same time as Woodstock. It's known somewhat as Black Woodstock, where like 300,000 people gathered in Harlem to watch like Stevie Wonder and Gladys Knight and the Pips and Sly and the Family Stone, like just a bunch of like great acts. And then like it just kind of faded from history. Yet they filmed like all of it. And so apparently they just found all the footage in like a basement, and Questlove has directed this fantastic documentary that just puts all of this footage out there of this wonderful festival. It has like interviews with people that were there and everything. It's really good. I was really impressed by this. And
that sounds good.
Speaking of docs, I also watched the Sparks Brothers. This is Edgar Wright's new documentary that he's premiered at the festival. And it's about this group called Sparks, which I was not aware of. I'm not the biggest music aficionado. I hear things that sound good and I like them. That's pretty much how I go with my music taste. But it's a very like artsy, influential band that so many different musicians have been inspired by, and Edgar Wright just got a whole bunch of people to just talk about this band and how much they have admiration for them. So it's worthwhile for sure. It was a good documentary for something I just didn't know about, but it was also just, I mean, it's a documentary, so don't expect like Edgar Wright to like go out of his way to make like a lot of crazy choices or whatnot. It's presenting stuff as it is, but still a worthwhile documentary. A little long, but still a worthwhile doc. Awesome. And last thing, and then I'll wrap up. Keep going. Last week I got the new Arrow Blu-ray for Southland Tales, Richard Kelly's sophomore film.
Yeah.
Film that I enjoy. Southland Tales is weird. When I watched it the first time back in, I can pull it out somewhere.
Mine is delayed in shipping, and I'm furious.
When I watched it the first time back in 2007, 2000, whenever it finally came out, I was like, well, that's not very. There's a lot there. I don't know if I like this. But I couldn't stop thinking about it, and I watched it again. I was like, you know what, this is actually pretty good. So I've held on to this thought that, like, I like this movie. It's a mess, but there's a lot going on, and there's a lot more I like than I don't like. So I watched. So it came out, and I've seen it many times since then. So it came out now with the Cannes Film Festival cut that like debuted all those years ago. That was like a disaster and everything. So they put that on the new Arrow Blu-ray.
Oh, Brandy.
It's a movie by Richard Kelly, who also directed Donnie Darko and The Box. It stars The Rock and Justin Timberlake and a bunch of other people.
Sarah Michelle Gellar.
Kevin
Smith.
There's a cameo by
17
Kevin Smith.
different SNL stars.
It is a movie that is so far beyond its britches in terms of what it's trying to accomplish, but that's why I find it so fascinating and fun to watch. It's just audacious as hell, and it doesn't all work, but that's what's thrilling about it.
And it's not complete. That's the other thing. Like, it's a movie that you can clearly see Kelly wanted to have like a few more millions to finish the effects and just smooth things out, and that just didn't happen. So it's like it sits in this weird realm. That said, I enjoy it. So I watched the original cut of the film, which is like 158 minutes. It didn't like wildly change my opinion. But it's like, oh yeah, okay, there's more of this. That's nice, I guess. So I enjoyed that. So with that said, that was last week. So this week I'm like, well, now I might as well watch Donnie Darko. I haven't watched that in forever. So I watched Donnie Darko. That movie still rules. Like it's not this like. That was where I got it at random because it was like, here's this movie. It has all these people and it's supposed to be weird. And I bought it and watched it. Like, all right, that was pretty good. I really enjoyed that. Then like the director's cut came out. I was like, that's good too. I like having less instead of more. But it's still like really worthwhile. So I watched it again. And among the other things I really like about the film, like the fact that it works really well as a high school comedy drama, even without the time travel stuff. When I got to the end, that Mad World cover, it still owns. Like, I know that song got, like, really overplayed and whatnot in other areas, but watching it in the context of that movie, that song just works within the context of it. It just really clicks. Like, it just goes all together.
Arrow put out a gorgeous, expansive set of that movie, which I have, which is great.
They're releasing a 4K version of that set.
There you go.
They announced it the other day, yeah. They're doing that, and they're also doing Battle Royale 1 and 2.
So I'm pretty sure, PJ, this is the first time you've ever interacted with Aaron. He may be the only person I know who knows that as much, if not more than you do, about physical media and upcoming releases.
I love that there's someone on my level.
I own one or two of them.
Yeah, I
mean, I think as you can see behind PJ that he has like 3 or 4.
Yeah.
I thought that was wallpaper. I thought he was a faker.
It's actually like a green CGI screen. Backdrop. Yeah, the green screen. You know,
it's like it's like how Video Drew makes it look like she's in the Red Lodge. No.
Yeah.
All right, Sean. What did you not watch this week? Because you didn't watch anything.
You know what? I actually watched more non-Star Wars movies this week than normal. So I watched.
No. No.
Sean.
I will leave.
I'm not going to come with you on that one.
Sean! This is
Sully! Freaking Sean.
All right, Sean, get it out. What did you watch?
So I watched Kong Skull Island. Well, I watched Solo.
I knew it. See?
I watched Rogue One.
Now, would this be because you are continuing to study for something that we're not talking about?
Right. That would be because we're continuing to study for something we're not talking about.
Yeah, understood.
So I watched Solo, Rogue One. I watched Kong Skull Island. I watched Godzilla King of the Monsters. I watched Godzilla King of the Monsters 56. I watched Godzilla vs. Megalon, and I watched Godzilla Final Wars.
Wow.
That's a rock and roll of a movie, isn't it?
It's great.
That movie's awesome. It's the best.
It's great.
What if all the human scenes were, instead of them talking, they're just doing like martial arts and running around all the time?
Yeah. So I know we're kind of jumping the gun on this one.
Go ahead.
But Godzilla Final Wars.
From the director of Midnight Meat Train and Versus.
It's like if you took The Matrix, Dragon Ball Z, Power Rangers, and
any kaiju movie,
sort of a Godzilla movie,
yep,
and smashed them together.
And
not
also,
really a Godzilla movie,
and also a Body Snatchers movie.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You're right. It was the most ridiculous thing ever, and Look. I know I'm a heathen. I prefer watching the dubbed versions than the subtitled versions. I get it. Look, Chris, you could be here. Chris, you literally could be here. I'm just saying, someone's got to defend Kong because we know PJ, David, Aaron, and I are not going to. So Max needs some backup. There we go, Christopher.
Hi, Chris.
Hi, Chris.
Wait, Chris, before you get into everything, I forgot to mention 2 things. Number 1, I was listening to a podcast called Chicano Squad. Please go watch it. It's
what
really
the
great.
Fuck? Okay. Yeah. Did I hear the sexy sax man? Oh, I'm so sorry.
I was giving you some intro music, Chris.
Intro music.
Oh my gosh.
I'm sexy.
Chris.
That's great, thanks.
But yes, go listen to Chicano Squad podcast. It's really great. It's a real life story about a group of Chicano cops in Houston, Texas during 1970s. They're literally assigned homicides that no one else wants, aka Latino people who got murdered and no one's bothering to solve. It's a really great podcast. And number 2, I finally saw Top Gun for the first time in my life.
Oh, you went on the danger zone.
Yeah.
You got on the on-ramp.
You're my eyes, Goose.
I don't
It's kind of amazing how often people forget that that's a Tony Scott joint.
I know. I never understand that.
It was surprisingly very good. At first, I was like, "This is kind of cheesy," but then,
well, I mean, it's
when
the '80s, bro.
Yeah, it's the '80s, and I try to like not put it against it. But then once it gets into that third act, I was like, "I'm invested. I love this." This is
You just hate those MIGs.
Yeah.
Nondescript enemy character. They're just out there.
So where was I? What did
Godzilla Final Wars.
Godzilla Final Wars. Look, I also watched Godzilla vs.
Let's stop talking about the Chicano podcast for a second. Let's get back to Godzilla Final Wars.
We're here on the topic, right?
Who cares about actual history? Back to Godzilla.
Hey, for once, I'm the one keeping us on topic. Godzilla vs. Megalon was also a choice. Now I watch all the subs and not the dubs. Yes, Kian, what's your question?
We're wasting valuable Final Wars time on this question.
We'll wait.
I love Dead Air.
Yeah.
Oh, what?
Why did they kick the original director off after Beverly Hills Cop 1 and replace him with Tony Scott?
I don't think he was kicked off.
He wasn't kicked off.
Yeah.
Martin Brest was like, I'm making Midnight Run, and he did that. And Jerry Bruckheimer and Don Simpson were like, we need somebody for this. And they're like, well, Top Gun made $1 billion adjusted for inflation. Let's get this guy on here.
And it worked.
Yeah, because Beverly Hills Cop was a huge hit too. They're both huge hits.
Yeah.
and they never made another one. I think that's how history goes.
That's right. And then that third movie, like, unfortunately directed.
Oh my god.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Okay.
Can I hold on.
No, not again.
Wait a minute. 3-movie collection.
Don't worry, I handled it. I handled it. We're okay.
Oh. Isn't it ironic that you timed out time frame?
There's a real problem we have here, Sean. So you timed out Time Franco. And thus, I am literally enabled to remove his comment from the screen. Now, theoretically, if I put someone else's up and then removed it, it would work. But still, the irony of that cannot go overstated.
How do I untime out someone?
I don't think you can.
God.
Oh man,
good job.
You set off the dogs. Look what you did.
Good.
Are you finished with your week, Sean?
Yeah, I don't got anything else.
You want me to go first?
That point about Final Wars, apparently.
We're gonna get to it, right?
We'll come back around.
Yeah.
We'll come back
And now look who's here.
We'll circle the kaiju
interesting. Tim is here. Oh. You just missed time, Franco. Tim Franco. I'll go first, PJ, and then I'll let you.
Well, real quick. Nobody likes Beverly Hills Cop 3. I don't. This is that's a troll comment.
No.
Let's get this guy out of here. I don't know.
No, Keon gets a pass. He's like my best in-person friend. So
I don't care. I don't know him. Get him out of here.
All right. I guess I will.
He's not my best friend.
Put user in timeout. Click.
What if he did that? What if he was literally gone from the rest of the show and he's like, what happened?
He likes you at least. What's up, Jeff?
Call sign quiz show.
Quiz show hanging out. Tim says he likes it, but it's not good. That's fair.
Yeah, I mean, I have some. If I'm honest, like I was young when it came out, so like I have nostalgic memories of seeing it when I was young. But
take it off the screen. Take it off the screen.
I've deleted it. Well. I've deleted it. Okay, so let's see. So yes, so I watched Daybreakers, which I hadn't seen in a while, which is actually pretty solid. After we did the watch along of Before Sunrise, I was in the mood for something else Ethan Hawke, but something that was not going to stimulate me as emotionally or intellectually as Before Sunrise did. And thus, Daybreakers seemed like the right choice. It's a very...
That's what? Like 2000 like 8, 9?
Yeah.
9? I've seen that once, but I recall it being like Mad Men, but with vampires. Like that.
Yeah,
was like
the aesthetic choices it makes and the world it builds is really cool. Like it reminds me of Dark City a little bit. Has some elements of The Matrix and Mad Men. It was fun. Then I also rewatched What We Do in the Shadows.
Oh, so good.
Because I wanted to start watching the TV show, which I did watch the first episode of and thought it was delightful. And the movie What We Do in the Shadows is easily one of the funniest movies of our time. I mean, it's just so freaking funny.
If you're into the first episode, you got so much good coming to you because it only gets better from there.
Yeah, that's what I've heard, and I already really like. I mean, that guy Harvey Guillen, however you pronounce his last name, is delightful. He's also on Zoe's Extraordinary Playlist, so he's just super funny. And then the real thing I want to talk about is something I watched twice this week, and I know PJ also watched it, so he may want to chime in. So it's Derek Delgadio's In and of Itself,
yes,
which is available on Hulu now. Now this is a film version of a show that played off Broadway in 2017 and 2018. I saw this 3 times when it was in New York, and to this day, which not that it was that long ago, but anyone knows how much theater I've seen. It was, in my estimation, simply one of the finest things I'd ever seen on a stage. Like, the easiest way to describe it is it's a magic show, but it's also a one-man show with a lot of storytelling. Mm-hmm. But the way that it deconstructs the genres it exists in and the way it makes you question and ponder the philosophy of human identity is not only so intellectually stimulating, but just, like, overwhelming on an emotional level. And what's astounding to me about this film, and both the stage production and this film adaptation are directed by the great Frank Oz, who, Sean, you know as Yoda. Yeah.
And as Chris knows, was involved in the Muppets.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's amazing to me is, so when I first heard that they had filmed it, I wasn't sure how it would translate because it was an intimate theater, 130 seats, and so much of it was about the individual connection that he was able to forge with the audience because of that. But the way Frank Oz filmed it, you feel like you're in the room. It's super intimate, and there are certain choices that they are able to make that you couldn't make on stage, like integrating some of his home videos from when he's a child. There are certain stories that he tells that have an animated component to it that they animated
the
for the film.
animation's so cool too.
Yeah. And then the other cool thing about it is, so they obviously filmed a plethora of different performances because it uses this trick where for certain... There's like 6 segments, and for the reveals of certain segments, it's a lot of it was like audience participation. So they will use like the sort of Spike Lee trick where you'd see someone coming from a hug and then see it from multiple angles cut together, where it's doing that, but it's with the multiple different audience members who got to have that moment on stage. So you get really the full experience of emotions that the different audience members had. So it's really astounding. It blew me away. I think it's one of the finest like filmed versions of a stage show I've seen. I cannot recommend it highly enough. And really, beyond what I've said, the less you know about it, the better.
Yeah, I'll just say this. Like, I watched it off of Max's recommendation. I kind of knew about it because I felt like you and I had talked about you seeing it.
Yeah,
and
I think so.
I didn't realize they had done a film one until you told me, and I sat down and watched it literally like the night after you were like, please watch it. Just, it was one of the few times where he wasn't yelling at me to watch something. He was just like please watch it. Like, he said it so nicely, I was like, okay, I'm gonna watch it, and it blew me away.
Well, now I know. Now I know the trick.
Yeah, but it did. It blew me away. I was totally enamored. The storytelling is incredible. The magic that goes with it is amazing, but it's so human and so raw that it was not what I was expecting. Please watch it. That I can't say enough good things about it. Please watch it. It's on Hulu, so if you have Hulu, you have access to it.
Yep.
That's surprising since he directed Little Shop.
Yeah, he did. And he had been retired from directing for a while.
Yeah, the last thing he directed was Little Shop, I think, right?
Well, no, he directed Bowfinger.
Oh,
and he also did Indian in the Cupboard.
The score, I think. No, there's something. No, Death at a Funeral.
Death at a
Funeral. Yeah, Death at a Funeral. But it had been a while since he had really done anything, and Derek met with him, and Frank just loved what he was doing. And apparently, like, from a creative standpoint, for the stage show, it's very collaborative. Like, Frank, as all great directors do, especially with theater, really helped Derek mine down and figure out what the structure of this is going to be, how it's going to work, etc. So, what else was your week in pop? Oh, I also played a lot of Warzone and died a lot.
Yep. Perfect.
Oh yeah.
What a way to end your pop culture week on that.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
Sounds about right.
Just as I got the cash I needed and found a buy box, I look away for 1 second and someone shot me from behind and I throw my controller.
Yep, that sounds on par for that game.
Yeah.
Outside of everyone else's, the stuff that I was doing the most was pretty much I started watching The Endless and Resolution and Synchronic. I'm really getting into the Benson and Moorhead stuff, and I cannot tell you guys how much I recommend watching Resolution and The Endless. I think that they're just a remarkable duology. There's something very, very cool about those movies.
PJ and I, for the first time, went live on stereo yesterday.
Yeah.
And spent about 45 minutes talking about Resolution and The Endless.
Tim, finally. Yes, Tim. I bought them and everything off of you bothering me about it, and here we are.
What about Spring?
I'm going to watch it next, but I wanted to watch the time travel stuff all pretty much together, just because it feels fitting.
Yeah, you can get to the Lovecraft stuff next.
Yeah, and I mean, there's a little bit of the Lovecraft sewn out throughout all the movies, and now I can't wait to watch Spring because that one's even more so. I really like Synchronic a lot too. That was the new one. It's not tied to the first two that they did, or the first two that I talked about, but it's a mind trip, man. I really like seeing Anthony Mackie play a little more serious. We don't always see that from him, so it was fun to see him in a role like that, and Jamie Dornan's real good too. Outside of that, we watched Before Sunrise, did The Nice Guys, did a commentary for the people who are $10 Nut patrons. And I've been reading some comics. I don't know, might be getting ready to a little bit of Kong here for Chris.
Yeah,
I know you appreciate that. Yeah, these are actually these are the real legendary prequels to all the movies.
Yeah, they're in the continuity.
Yeah, they're all in continuity, and they have two more that are coming out next month.
Yep, one's Confrontation, and the other is Godzilla Dominion or something.
Yeah.
Will you send me links to those, PJ?
Yep, I got you right now.
Yeah, that reminds me, I forgot to mention, Sully, I also watched Kong Skull Island this week.
So good. It's
a movie that has only grown in my mind since theaters.
Yeah.
I think it's just a blast, and Jordan Vogt-Roberts just fucking throws it to the wind and goes for it. I don't know if I've ever seen anything as batshit cool and nonsensical as the green gas and Tom Hiddleston with the fucking samurai sword slicing those things.
Yeah.
This makes no sense for the character that we've seen so far. I don't quite understand the visual geography of it, but damn, it's cool.
I'll say this about Kong Skull Island, because I rewatched it not long ago. I'm obviously going to rewatch everything leading into the new movie, but it is one of the most visually interesting pulp adventures ever put on film.
I can't wait till we go watch
for that alone, in a pulp narrative dime store novel sort of way, it is exactly what I wanted that movie to be, even though as a movie sometimes you're like, what the fuck is going on? I don't care. It's a dime store paperback novel.
Well,
I'm having fun with it. Dude, Kong rips a fucking tree out of the ground, and Akira Kurosawa's this monster across the face.
You have, the first hour, which is a very heavy Vietnam riff,
Which is fantastic. I love
relatively serious in tone. You're meeting the characters, and then John C. Reilly shows up and is like, dirt, and it just makes it even better.
Yeah.
That movie's fantastic. I wanted to say real quick, if you have Amazon Prime, and if you have Comixology, I think they have those Godzilla books.
They do
on there for you to read.
That's how I did it, actually.
If you want to read it through there.
Good to know.
Yeah,
good to know.
It's good. Yeah.
Oh, if we're talking comics, I got The Woods here.
Oh yeah,
some pretty cool stuff.
All right, I'm interested.
Yeah,
cool art style.
This is so random, but I watched. If anyone remembers, Telltale Games had done a Back to the Future game a couple years ago, but someone very savvy on the internet actually took the game and cut it into 2 movies.
That sounds like something Topher Grace would do. Was it Topher Grace?
No, it was not Topher Grace, surprisingly. Just some very savvy internet fan, and turned it into
yeah,
they're both on YouTube, and you can watch them for free. But they're up there, and it was kind of fun. Like, I'd played the game, but it had been a while, so to kind of revisit the story and the way that the person did it, like, it's pretty damn good for, being a video game cut-up, essentially.
Well, not dissimilar from what our good friend Kevin Smith does with KOTOR.
Mm-hmm. Exactly, and that's what it felt like. So they're both on there, so if you type in Back to the Future 4 or Back to the Future 5, they'll come up. One is about 2 hours, the other is 2.5 hours. Like, it's pretty, but it really feels like a direct continuation in a cool way. So check it out. I think you guys will enjoy it if you like Back to the Future.
Now look, we're here to talk about Godzilla and Kong, and it's a rare case wherein I am the least educated person on a topic on a panel, which is probably why I'm Team Kong and not Team Godzilla.
And you're from New York like I am, so...
Yeah.
Did you really put F Godzilla in your thing, Chris?
I did.
Not only did he put hashtag Team...
Oh my god! What is that? Oh my... I'll be honest. Godzilla movies I'm not as familiar with.
I just want to know why the Godzilla animated theme sounds like
just the
Zorro's
Hanna-Barbera?
Yeah.
It's the Hanna-Barbera with Godzilla.
You know, Kong had a Hanna-Barbera show too. It's fucking shit, but it's really, really interesting. A little kid follows him around and like, yeah, it's stupid, but... Yeah.
It's over now, Max. It's over.
I will say, though, that the Godzilla movies I'm not as familiar with as I am with, obviously, the Kong franchise. But I will say, you changed your name, David. Jet Jaguar, I don't know if you guys knew this, but in the German dub of Jet Jaguar versus Godzilla, he's King Kong in a robot suit. Did you know that? Yeah. You can look it up. Jet Jaguar is King Kong in the German dub.
Jet Jaguar, correct me if I'm wrong, but Jet Jaguar only shows up one time. That's Godzilla versus Megalon.
Yep, and that's supposed to be King Kong. That's King Kong in a robot suit in the German version.
I don't even know how that would work as far as the dub goes.
Can I just give you my my favorite line from the dub of the English dub of that movie is the little kid says, "Hey, look! I found some funny powder." What?
Yeah.
What does that mean? Hey, look! I found some funny powder, and he does it. He sounds like a guy who's just like pitching up his voice like 12 octaves. I don't understand.
In the German dub, he is called King Kong.
So weird.
Yeah, but the German, knows what's up.
They won't know the difference.
No. So what is everyone's first exposure to Godzilla? And in Chris's case, King Kong.
I have two cases.
Why is
what is this?
Why is
Come on, guy.
That one wasn't me.
Guy.
That wasn't me.
No, let's just. This is unacceptable.
PJ. I thought I was dealing with professionals.
No.
Here?
No.
I should have known better.
No.
I guess
Sean?
I'll go first for Sean's question. It was what was your first experience with Godzilla? And mine And I was shitting on it earlier, but I actually have a little bit of a soft spot for it. Was 1998's Godzilla, the American one. Even though it's not Godzilla by any stretch of the imagination, it is the first Godzilla film I dealt with in my youths. So, I now since have learned better. I've grown as an adult and human being, but...
Hi, Ellie.
Look, all I can say is last time PJ and I tried to watch that movie, bad things happened.
Yeah, I've heard.
Bad things? All right, look.
It doesn't help that it's 140 minutes long. Like, it's just like...
It's so long! It's so long, yeah.
So, let's establish a little context for those of us at home who don't remember. We had scheduled a watch-along double feature of Godzilla 98 and Guillermo del Toro's Pacific Rim, starting with Godzilla 98. About halfway through the watch-along of Godzilla 98...
less than half.
Less than half.
That movie's so
minutes?
damn long.
Yeah.
You're like, let's stop?
No. Chadwick Boseman died.
Yeah. and Sean got tacos.
So then we immediately stopped the watch-along. And now we can never put that on the docket again because, God forbid, we're responsible for someone else's death.
Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, because every time we talk about it, I'm afraid it's cursed.
All I'm saying is if we try it again, someone better have eyes on Winston Duke.
I'll be the first time I saw Godzilla, I'll go with that because everybody knows the Kong story. First time I saw Godzilla was actually the 1954 version because actually my dad introduced me to, because the sequel to that was the one where they discover him under the ocean, and that was it Godzilla Lives or something? What was the sequel to that?
Godzilla Raids Again.
Godzilla Raids Again. And then my dad introduced me to the King Kong vs. Godzilla film, which sucks, in my opinion. I don't know if you guys like King Kong vs. Godzilla, but to me, it really kind of is very, very, what's the term? It's very offensive in a lot of ways. It's also very, very, it doesn't do Kong justice at all. He looks like an orangutan. And then I've seen the other films, like if you describe what it is, I saw Son of Godzilla and I saw I like the one where he defeats that smog monster thing. That was cool. And I remember
Ghidorah.
Yeah, Ghidorah. And then the one with the giant crab where people would like get snagged up and eaten by the crab thing. Looked like Mr. So it's kind of Mr. Krabs. It was really it just.
Aaron's gonna reach through the fucking
Aaron,
computer
thank you
screen
so much for
strangle Chris.
Look, I know a chunk of these monsters, but Aaron knows all of them.
Yeah, I know. I'm terrible because all of the Godzilla films kind of like mesh in my head. With the Kong franchise, I guess we're going to talk about that later or whatever. There's not as many films, and it's not as consistent as the Godzilla films are because I know like people love seeing monsters fight, and you know, I never really gravitated towards Godzilla a lot because because a lot of his movies you want a little bit more depth with like the human characters in my opinion because that's what I liked about Kong. And every film he's in, you have the depth and the human perspective. With Godzilla, it's just
the
monsters.
Two main ones. I mean, there's some other crappy Kong movies, but the two.
Oh, there's there's the three.
Like, no one's looking for depth in King Kong Lives. Like,
King Kong Lives is a oh my god! Like imagine if King Kong lived falling off the Twin Towers. That's exactly what happens. And and King Kong 76 didn't age well because there's a giant gorilla with helicopters at the top of the twin. It's not a good image nowadays, but they're still stupidly bad movies, but they're fun. With Godzilla, though, I just never found the character depth with a lot of the films. That's the problem I had with King of the Monsters recently. It's just that it was a bunch of monsters fighting, but that's just my opinion. So I never gravitated towards Godzilla, but I do acknowledge that those movies can be fucking fun and feel like Power Rangers ripoffs if you want them to be, and they're good.
Power Rangers are Godzilla
Power Rangers are
Power Rangers are Godzilla.
How dare you, sir? Can we kick him out real quick?
Yeah, you can kick him out.
I'm just kidding. I love you, Chris. That was a joke. I was being facetious.
It's all good. My opinions are asinine, and they're great.
No, they're not. I'm giving you a hard time. No, they're not.
So my first exposure to King Kong, or to Godzilla rather, was in fact the 1978 cartoon.
Really?
With Godzuki.
Peter and the Dragon? Oh no, that's Godzuki.
That is Godzilla's.
That looked like Pete's dragon.
Offspring. You broke David.
I'm so sorry.
And that wonderful, wonderful theme song, which I won't play again because Maxwell apparently will kill me if I do.
I love you, Chris.
But then obviously after that, I'm of an age where I saw Godzilla '98 and the wonderful Taco Bell dog, and the Godzilla Fox cartoon, which is much better than Godzilla '98.
Yeah, the cartoon's fantastic. What? Cartoon's fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh,
Chris, do you not know about the Taco Bell dog?
Wait, the Taco Bell dog. You talking about the commercial for Godzilla '98 with it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
It's the best part of Godzilla '98.
It was just that though.
Talking about a watch along with the Taco
famous dog that walked around in 1998 talking about Godzilla.
That would be a great movie.
But yeah, look, I love I love my shitty Godzilla '98. I grew up and realistically, I saw a lot of the older Japanese films when I was a kid, but I have no memory of them. I remember watching them. I remember having a shitty Godzilla costume and putting blocks together and breaking the buildings and all that. And
I did that with a gorilla suit. Yeah. Oh, and I climbed a lamp too.
All right, guys. PJ Campbell Network exclusive. Before the film, Chris Clark and I are going to get in costumes and go at it.
Yes. I've been waiting for this moment my whole
life.
You mean fighting?
Please and thank you. I will literally join the executive tier on your Patreon just for that.
You should do it. Godzilla vs. Kong.
Oh, boy.
Maxwell, this is what you want the show to be.
Oh, I know.
Okay.
I also find joy in being the voice of dissent at certain times.
Well,
fair.
I'm sorry, Max. Aaron, what about you? You know your Godzilla.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a whole life worth of watching Godzilla stuff. I think my first exposure was somewhere in the early '90s, where I saw I saw Godzilla versus Mecha Godzilla. I want to say Godzilla versus Mecha Godzilla 2 because it was a high Sierra at that, but that feels like that would make sense as far as when I was able to see something like that on television. And for whatever reason, I think just because the term Godzilla is so ubiquitous in culture, I already knew of the existence of Godzilla, but in terms of seeing it, it was okay, now I've seen a Godzilla movie and it's versus Mecha Godzilla, and the idea of a Mecha Godzilla always intrigued me. It's well, we have this, and there's a mecha version. That's amazing. As a kid, that's cool. That sounds really easy.
For Mecha Godzilla, did Mecha Godzilla come first, or did the Mecha Kong from Escapes come first?
Mecha Godzilla came first. I want to make sure my years are right on this.
Yeah.
Mecha Godzilla came first. Then there was Mecha Kong. Mecha Kong's late 70s.
Okay, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah. But regardless, yeah, saw that first, and I saw because the availability of Godzilla films at that point, not the best. So I've been clips here or there before I saw '98, and that's a weird one where I'm young enough where it's well, I like Independence Day, so the guy, Emmerich coming, doing this. What can go wrong here? So watching it the first time, I'm thinking, well, I mean, if things blew up, right? And it's got Ferris Bueller's here, and genre yeah, there's stuff there. And then subsequent viewings, it's this is not going over well, and it just kind of it just kind of went off as far as where my head was at as far as appreciating this movie. Since that time, when Godzilla, because I pretty much right after, because it was '99, Godzilla 2000 came out, and they the Millennium era started, so I started seeing more new Godzilla stuff. Cool, great, I'm seeing another version of Godzilla now. That's a really that's the suitimation. It's not this the Zilla thing and the CG and all that stuff. So I got to see more of those, and then as things became more available for DVDs and stuff like that, I was finally able to catch up with the rest of Godzilla films over time. With that said, my appreciation for Godzilla, it's I mean, for one thing, it's giant monsters fighting. I'm a big fan of scale in things, and even though the Toho Godzilla films for the most part they do what they can as far as making it seem realistically them being that big. But I still like the idea of like giant monster battles. That said, if you get a good one, and there's only a couple I dislike, but the best ones really deal with something, not on a human level as far as like characters go, but as far as like themes and ideas. Obviously, the first one dealing with the nuclear age and what have you, but something like even King Kong versus Godzilla.
That final fight is great, yeah, but that's only the last 20 minutes of the film.
But the original cut of King Kong versus Godzilla, there's a lot of satire in it. There's a lot of like deliberate humor going on and stuff, which I appreciate. But like things like Hedorah. That's about like the pollution in Japan at the time. Like, there's a lot of them that like try to delve into something beyond just having monster fights or what have you. With that said, I love Kong. I'm a huge King Kong fan. I'm wearing my Kong shirt. There's no Godzilla film to me that's better than either 33 Kong or 2005 Kong. As much as I love Godzilla, like there's no Godzilla film that exceeds either of those for me. So as far as like the teams go, it's like I just want them. They're gonna come together. They're gonna figure out something. I don't have to pick a side here. It's all gonna work out. Well, maybe someone gets a punch in the face the wrong way, but we'll be fine.
Very, very curious about where you place Shin Godzilla and all of that.
Oh, Shin Godzilla rules.
Because I would argue in terms of like cinema and like heady themes, 54's Godzilla is literally a masterpiece. Like the subject of that film isn't so much Godzilla as much as it is Japan's reaction and response to like
and that's what I loved about that first one.
To Castle Bravo and Bikini Atoll,
yeah, exactly. And then Shin Godzilla is like really about the government and like how they would respond. It's like a huge like, I guess like a retrospect or like a very like detailed like look at all that stuff too. And I find those
Shin Godzilla's like, what if Armando Iannucci made a Godzilla movie? Like that's what you're.
Yeah,
I've never actually seen Shin Godzilla.
Oh, you'll love it.
It's really good. It's actually I think it's a fantastic film.
Yeah, it's probably my second favorite Japanese Godzilla film to the original. From what I've seen, I've seen a lot of the Showa era stuff. I have the beautiful Criterion set. I'm not as familiar with like the 84 to 95 or the Millennium era. I've seen none of the Millennium era stuff, but I've seen Shin Godzilla and it is excellent.
Yeah, it is. It's the kind of thing where you're already enjoying just the bureaucracy and like the lunacy going on there, and they're like, by the way, here's Godzilla, and it has multiple stages, and it just the way it delivers destruction. You like think you know what you're getting as far as like, hey, he opens his mouth and he blows out his beam, and then it's like, no, there's more, and it comes up.
And I think a reprint of the Blu-ray is actually coming out this week.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll go for
it. Has anyone? What's everyone's opinion on King of the Monsters?
The original or the new one?
The new one or the original? Yeah.
The original, 56.
You mean so? Well, that's just you mean so just the dubbed version with Raymond Burr added to it.
With Raymond Burr added to it, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a movie.
I never saw the Japanese original cut. Is it better? I'm assuming.
Oh.
Yes, because they don't cut. I mean, most of the dubs and re-edits of the Godzilla films are just, well, this stuff's too heady or boring, or we don't like the music, or we just feel like being racist today, so let's just cut stuff out. Like that's literally what it amounts to. So like things that will maybe make Americans uncomfortable, we'll just remove that and just leave like whatever else and film.
We'll just remove most references to the fact that America caused Godzilla's creation.
Yeah, so like everything that's smart about 1954's Godzilla is removed from Godzilla, and they're like, but if we film Raymond Burr, everyone's going to be cool with this.
I have not subjected myself to that.
It's not like, I mean, if you want to watch like a Godzilla movie, you're not going to like get a bad deal out of it. It's just like, this other version exists that's an actual classic, and there's like this other thing where it's like,
so Raymond Burr is not in the original version of it.
No, American.
No, that's the only version I've ever seen.
There's no Americans in the original. It's all about it's Japanese melodrama that happens to have a giant monster.
The only one I saw was the Kong vs. Godzilla Japanese version, where they take out the entire news broadcast, which is like 90% of the film. So yeah.
You haven't seen the original Japanese Godzilla?
I've not seen the original Japanese 1954. No,
I think you'd like it. It's I
so
obviously,
good.
you know, these guys know better than me, but the Godzilla franchise went on to do all sorts of things with large, and the original is really a serious work of cinema.
Yeah, it's a somber film. Like, it really goes for a very kind of mood. And, but like, Chris, if you're saying like you like the humanity in Kong, like that's what Godzilla is.
Yeah. Of course, I've not seen the. It's just because when I watch stuff like subtitles and stuff, I just haven't got around to it. I do actually really like the American version of it. I really dig that. It's actually one of my favorites.
Like it does. It's still there. It's just
so if it's better than that, then yeah.
It's like you can watch Blade Runner and read the theatrical cut and be like, oh yeah, all right, he's narrating. I guess that's whatever. But you can watch the final cut and be like, yeah, that's a better Blade Runner. Like, why would I watch this again?
I'll check out the
And then
local
Chris,
fans to talk about Blade Runner now.
And then Chris has a double feature. Go watch Godzilla Final Wars right afterwards.
Is that the one with the giant ball? Like creature with the ball?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Wait, am I sounding like a dumbass?
No, you're not.
Okay.
No, I'm just thinking, like, what would Ashiro Honda say if he's like, here's Godzilla, and now here's Godzilla Final Wars? Like, what are we doing, guys?
Yeah, Godzilla Final Wars is a weird fucking movie.
You're getting the spectrum of what Godzilla is. Godzilla can be this very like artistic view at like politics in the world, and it could also be this bananas, bonkers, over-the-top sci-fi action thriller.
Look, anytime here's the thing. The worst of Godzilla is professional wrestling with monster suits.
Yeah.
So even the worst of Godzilla is highly entertaining.
Yeah. That's what I tend to look at it as. So that's when not that I need, it doesn't matter to me if somebody else doesn't enjoy a movie the way I do, but when I look at like the reaction to last year's King, or 2 years ago now, King of the Monsters, and see like, a lot of tepid response out there, I'm thinking, all right, I mean, you didn't like it, whatever, but like, as a Godzilla fan, I feel like a lot of us are the same, like a lot of like kaiju fans. It's like, the thing that it's delivering, it's not like that, that bar is all that high. Are you going to give me a Godzilla film that has Godzilla fighting other monsters or terrorizing a city?
Mm-hmm.
Like, anything else that comes with that, like, yes, I would ideally, it could be, handled to the maximum of artistic integrity and have wonderful performances, but like, I don't, I'm not looking for Kyle Chandler to win another Emmy because he was in a Godzilla movie. I feel like it's great that you have talented people in this, but that's not my requirement here. That's not what I'm looking for. If you're going to give me like a King Kong movie, I more or less expect human characters to be involved because there's a drama there as far as Beauty and the Beast angle and what have you. Godzilla movie, it's like, give me the monster stuff. Ideally, there's some like satirical things, there's some social commentary or what have you, because that's what Godzilla movies do best. Outside of the monster action, but largely in 2019, like, I'm getting a CG rendered Godzilla and King Ghidorah and Mothra and Rodan. Like, what do I have to complain about here, guys?
Yeah.
Like, what was the other thing I needed?
That was exactly how I felt when I walked out of King of the Monsters, and I was with people who were like super tepid on it, and I was like, I don't think you guys understand, like, for someone like me who saw, the puppet versions and people in suits versions of these characters coming to like towering titan height, like feeling real with the CGI was next level awesome.
And
for me, it was like I got to see them fight in like these godlike, like real godlike stature.
Yeah,
it was fucking awesome.
Well, that's
like,
something Doherty did so well. Like Doherty, like made like Turner paintings come to life in the form of Godzilla, and it's like that's cool. And now as far as the MonsterVerse goes, Skull Island is my favorite of that universe. I think Gareth Edwards' 2014 Godzilla, I think that's the best directed of these movies.
Sure.
But all of them have delivered for me in different ways, and that's something I can appreciate.
Yeah,
I'd rather get a lot of different like artistic visions of these giant monster movies in a world where I've already gotten like 30 Godzilla movies. Like, I can see something a little bit different here. I'm not complaining about that.
Yeah, I've also enjoyed all the different MonsterVerse movies so far, and I agree that King of the Monsters was just visually awesome monsters fighting, and that was what you paid for. Sort of like, what do you like?
It also, I like seeing all of
it was
Boston
also
be
significantly
destroyed.
better than the other big budget kaiju film that came out in American theaters that year.
Pacific.
Wait, Rampage?
Rampage?
No, I like Rampage. Pacific Rim Uprising.
Yeah, he's talking about
Pacific Rim Uprising.
Uprising.
Yeah, that movie.
Rampage is
that
fun.
movie.
I've never seen it.
Well, and
Rampage
here's
is
what
actually fun. Yeah, I agree.
I'll say this too. Like, and I love seeing Del
Oh
Toro.
no, I guess that was 18 and King of Monsters was 19.
Yeah, King of the Monsters
Rampage
was
is
early
18.
last year.
Oh, they're
Yeah,
18.
okay.
God, I have lost
Uprising
all
was, yeah.
grasp and understanding of time over
I
the
do-
last year.
I do want to see the MonsterVerse crossover with Pac Rim, and I know.
I mean,
that,
look, it's legendary. There
That's
are
what I mean.
less likely things to happen.
And
Yeah.
Del Toro weighing in on it the other day kind of made me happy too. Where he's like, "I want to see that." He was like, "I would like to see that."
I just hope that
I look
Congress
forward to
Godzilla makes
what-
the money.
I look forward to like how that explanation happens. It's similar to me to think like, how does Fantastic Four enter the MCU? Where they're like,
Yeah.
oh, by the way, don't you remember that family from like 50 years ago? They time traveled.
They can make it
like,
work,
what's the logic going to be when they're like, by the way, in addition to the Titans that have been terrorizing, but now like a rift in the water has opened up, and we need to create mechs. And like, what's that going to be to like explain the crossover? I welcome it. I don't know,
Yeah.
alternate dimensions. Who cares? Like,
Do what? At this point, I'm like, they could say that the Rift is a time travel thing now too, and like it pulled Godzilla out of time. Fine, fuck it, I'm cool.
And the whole Netflix animated show on Skull Island with that
Yeah.
continuity. I can't wait for that because I think we can all agree that probably the best storytelling of the MonsterVerse trilogy so far is Skull Island with all that lore behind Skull Island. It's going to be interesting to see Netflix explore that. Did we find out why it's Netflix and not HBO Max? Or
I'm gonna guess that they made the deal before
okay.
because remember Netflix was trying to get Godzilla vs Kong like real bad, and that in hindsight makes even more sense because they're doing a Kong anime that they could be like, hey, look, we have a part of it, so now Netflix is going to be off in its own thing with one part of it.
I mean, I assume it's a Legendary thing. That's part of it too. Like it's specifically Legendary, not Warner Brothers. Like so, it's whatever.
Yeah, I
those
was
deals are.
confused by that if there was maybe a falling out or something.
No, I think Aaron's right. I think it's about Legendary.
Well,
it is.
I don't know about
100%.
falling out, but I know they've been at odds because Netflix offered so much for Godzilla vs Kong, and that didn't fly. And we can only speculate on whatever kind of behind the scenes drama is going on. As
Netflix
far
got
as
Godzilla versus Kong. Oh my god!
Well, not just that. Like there was also it wouldn't be the first because Legendary and WB had a falling out once before, and that's when Legendary ended up at Universal. And Universal's the one who did the Pacific Rim sequel. WB didn't do it.
Yeah, it was all Legendary Universal.
Yeah, and so then when the Kong stuff continued to be going, it kind of created another thing where WB ended up wanting them back. It was a whole thing.
Yeah.
I feel bad because the truth is I actually really like Legendary as a studio. I think Legendary delivers the one thing that I kind of want out of cinema sometimes, and that's big B movies. Like things like The Great Wall and Pacific Rim and Godzilla, like all of that stuff is the kind of stuff that I want to see more of.
I like that the Great Wall came up. Like I like the Great Wall. It's like a silly movie, but I enjoy it quite a bit. But I like that you brought it up. It's like the first example of a Legendary movie.
Well, because I'm going back in my head. It still sits partially like for whatever reason as something recent that keeps popping into my head. So I pulled it.
Yeah. Legendary, the Great
It's
Wall, Lady in the Water, the Owl Guardians of the Kahuli, like there's another one.
But I just like their.
I mean, straight out of Compton.
Yeah, they straight out of Compton. I guess the Batman movies too, right? The Dark Knight trilogy.
Yeah,
there were Batman movies. I haven't heard of those.
No.
I think the only thing Aaron may know more about that. The one thing Aaron may know more about than Godzilla is Batman.
Is the
Batman.
is the
What's
is
the
the
favorite
Batman part of the monster universe? It's a giant man bat.
That'd be awesome.
That'd be great.
What if there was?
Also,
what if they made Man Bat? What
I
if Matt
agree with
Reeves is
Tim's
like, this
take.
is all a smoke screen, and we actually have Man Bat as our main
I'd be
villain?
so happy because I love that. I love that.
There's no
character.
penguin. We just dressed up Colin Farrell to throw you off. And actually
Yeah,
Man Bat.
psych.
We
It's
spent a
we're
lot of
shooting
money
two
on
films at once.
highly realistic prosthetics when we could have gotten Richard Kind just to throw you off the scent.
Yep. Richard Kind looks like me in 50 years.
Or it is Colin
Chris,
Farrell,
how old
but
do
he's
you
not
think
end
Richard Kind
credits
is?
scene.
Oh wait, I was he's probably something in the 2-digit range. I mean well duh, he's in the fucking 2-digit range.
Yes.
Okay, wait. Oh my god. He's probably in his 60s, and I'm 29. It's 30. He's 30 years older, not 50. Whoops. Oh, what the fuck was that?
So,
do you hold on real quick? Do you think Richard Kind liked Midnight Sky? And if you didn't, do you think Richard Kind walked up to Clooney and was like, "Yeah, you kind of missed here, buddy," since they're best friends? I just like thinking about that relationship, what Richard Kind and George Clooney talked about.
Do you think Richard Kind was one of the people George Clooney gave $1 million to after he sold his tequila company for $1 billion?
He probably gave him $3 million. They're best friends. He probably did whatever he wanted.
That's such a weird, that's not who you would expect George Clooney to be best friends with. Like, you want to see him hanging out with Brad Pitt, not... And don't get me wrong, I love Richard Kind. Richard Kind is mishpuka to me, but,
Richard Kind actually graduated from high school.
Yeah, by the way, all of you... I'm not the only Jew tonight. That's important to note.
Chris, you converted?
I'm Italian. Oh, I'm Italian. I'm not Jewish.
Chris, one can be Jew-talian.
Oh, yeah, that's what I meant. I'm not Jewish.
Oh,
yeah, I'm all for Godzilla and part of the tribe at the same time.
It's true, he is. Since Aaron and David, you guys are such big Godzilla fans, if you were to pick your top 3 or 4 all-time Godzilla movies, going back from 54 till now, every era, what would you choose?
Well, for sure. 54.
Not to put you on the spot, but that's exactly what I'm doing.
54 and Shin hold 1 and 2 respectively for me.
And then Godzilla Megalon, right?
Fuck that movie.
With Jaguar,
straight to the ground. No, I would say 54, Shin, Final Wars, and then I haven't seen all of them yet. That was the reason I made the podcast, is so I can give myself a reason to watch all of them. So I haven't seen all of them yet with my friend Mike Mixtape. We're on 20 so far.
What are you doing next?
I think we're doing Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla.
Cool, I'm in.
Oh, okay. All right. Next week then. Cool. See how easy that was?
PJ, see how easy that was?
So easy. So...
I don't like this attitude that's coming in here right now.
Painless and just
this background is giving me a headache. I hate it.
As far as my fourth one, that's up in the air for me.
I didn't know Up in the Air was a Godzilla
I was gonna
movie.
say George Clooney is in that, who we were talking about, but that is
that's
an
an actual movie.
Yeah.
It's a pretty wild one. Godzilla shows up an hour and 45 minutes, and it's right when Sam Elliott comes to sit next to him on the plane, and out the window you're just like, "Oh, there's Godzilla," and then he moves on and goes.
Yeah.
Well, the big twist. I mean, I didn't see the big twist coming that Vera Farmiga is actually Godzilla the whole time.
Yeah, I didn't see that either.
Yeah, it was an early precursor. That's why it's so people didn't realize that when they watched it. Like, "Oh, damn it!" And then they're like, "Oh, they didn't really get it."
Brilliant stuff.
She was Oscar nominated and everything, and they're like, "Oh."
Yeah. Only time someone's been nominated for playing Godzilla.
Well, I mean,
really? Wow.
There's almost a joke there because Ang Lee played Hulk in Hulk, so he wanted. That's not exactly Godzilla, but it's close to someone.
True, he did.
Oh, you know what? Now, just to finish off, I would say Godzilla 2000 so far would be my number 4.
You know, that's one that I missed when I was a kid, and I really wanted to see it.
Interesting.
Godzilla 2000 is legitimately a good film too. It kind of harkens back to the 54 kind of mythos and story, but I think Toho released that actually as kind of a palate cleanser because 98's Godzilla was.
They did, yeah. I do remember that.
But Toho immediately took back the rights from Sony, and they're like, "Well, that wasn't a thing, so let's do our own movie."
And and I don't know if you guys watched the King Kong 05 documentary, but Kong was supposed to be remade by Peter Jackson in 1998, but because the 98 Godzilla flopped and wasn't well received, Kong 05 became a thing instead. So.
It was that Godzilla movie, and because Mighty Joe Young was being made.
Mighty Joe Young, I never understood because that's such a beautiful film. I don't know if you guys have ever seen the remake of Mighty Joe Young, but that is such a beautiful Disney film that gets overlooked. Yeah, that also flopped though, so that's also a reason.
Yeah, it was because it was expensive. Let's make it.
That gorilla suit has not been matched in a film since. That gorilla
and people were stupid because they're like, we have Bill Paxton right here, and you're like, you're not going to go see his movie? It's like, all right, fine, whatever.
And now he's dead.
Yeah. Yep, a lot of people are dying because of.
So what about you, Aaron? What would your top 3 or 4 all-time Godzilla movies be?
I can give you my top 5. I have a whole letterbox list devoted to this. This is easy. My top 5 Godzilla films. I'll go from 5 to number 1. The number 5. I do really like the 2014 Godzilla. I think it's a really excellently crafted, very Spielbergian take on Godzilla, and the amount of patience it has is something I'd love to see from more summer blockbusters, because it absolutely delivers. The number 4 would be Godzilla vs. Violante, the second film in the Heisey era, which is, if you like Little Shop of Horrors, here's the Godzilla movie for you, because it rules, except there's no musical numbers. But still, it's great.
I was intrigued for a second.
It has one of the best kaiju designs I've ever seen, because it takes multiple forms. It metamorphoses a number of ways, but it becomes this giant plant creature, and it's a pretty bloody Godzilla movie too.
Oh my God.
They go at it.
This looks like Argentina.
It's wonderful. Violante is great, and the Heisey era, like, those films are really fun because they're very much directly influenced by what's going on at the time. So, like, that one obviously has like body horror stuff going on. The one after that, Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah, is heavily influenced by Terminator 2 and Back to the Future, of all things. Like, there's just a lot of things going on in those movies. But Violante is great, and also incredibly hard to find. So even though I can recommend Violante all day,
it's
it's not an easy one to like look for. I really hope it finally gets a new release.
It's nowhere on streaming.
I mean, I
buy it
own
on Amazon. It's like $50.
I own it.
Yeah.
Give it to me.
Some of us are lucky enough to own it. I have it, but it's not.
No,
not one
I'm
you can
sorry.
just look up and find.
I'm sorry. Never mind. That got stolen from my car.
Okay, that's
Did it really?
Well, I was making a joke that Magic the Gathering last year released a whole set of Godzilla alternate versions of actual cards.
Got it.
And Violante was one of them.
And was that actually in your car?
Yep, sure was.
God damn it.
I had collected a whole fuck ton of them. The only ones I didn't was there was a limited release of basic lands that have if you know Magic the Gathering, basic lands are your Pokemon energy. And they did a limited release of basic lands with Godzilla art in them. And
cool.
I actually got those on Wednesday. So
Oh, you got them. Oh, great.
There's a Blu-ray of it on eBay for $30.
Ooh.
So that's good. If you guys wanted to get it, but there's 10
All
bid.
right. Let Aaron finish up his list.
My number 3 is Destroy All Monsters, which is the Avengers of Godzilla movies, because it's just all of the kaiju come together and fight, and there's King Ghidorah again, and there's aliens, and there's kaiju all over the world being caused to do crazy things we don't know why. It's a wonderful, wonderful movie. It rules. It is like the epitome of getting all of them together just for like fighting purposes. It's not one that I'm looking at because of all the great social commentary. It's more one that's just super fun. Like even the human stuff is like ridiculous, so like you can't not be like entertained by how ridiculous it is. Plus Minya comes in and is actually useful, so that's helpful. That's Godzilla's son. Number 2 is Shin Godzilla. We've talked about it. It rules. It's great. And number 1 is the 54 version, which is the classic.
Okay. There you go.
Solid list.
Yeah. Really good
PJ,
stuff.
your top 4 Godzillas?
I hadn't really thought about this. I was not thinking I was going to get put on the spot like that.
All right, then forget it.
No, I'm thinking now. Damn, David.
So I wish I can give you a top 3 or 5, but again, because I saw most of them when I was younger, and they're more ingrained in me. Like I owned the little rubber toys, like all that. I don't remember the movies well enough. That's why I'm kind of going back right now and rewatching them. Don't tell Shannon. I'm watching Star Wars, I promise.
I know this isn't part of the Godzilla series, and I know it's still Toho. But I also want to say that one of the best giant monster movies I've ever seen by Toho wasn't a Godzilla film, but it was a movie called War of the Gargantuans.
Yeah, War of the Gargantuans.
It's about 2 giant like swamp creatures that are brothers.
The Frankenstein. They're supposed to be Frankenstein.
Yeah. The Frankenstein creatures. Yeah. I would highly recommend that film. It's not a Godzilla film. It's in the continuity, though.
It's a Toho film that's directed by Ishiro Honda.
Yeah,
so
it's phenomenal. It's just the Godzilla's not in it. Yeah.
There's the one I can never remember, Aaron, and I know you'll know the answer to this. What's the other kaiju that's really big in Japan that isn't ever
Gamera?
Gamera, yeah.
Gamera, the giant turtle creature. He's a friend to all children. Gamera.
That the Gamera box set's right up there of the complete collection. Like,
it's a shame we never got. Gamera versus Godzilla. That would have been fun.
Because they're different studios. But
yeah.
There's a world where this. I mean, in the age that we're in, where we've brought so many things together, including the Jetsons and the Flintstones, I assume that one day we'll get a Gamera and Godzilla.
I won't lie. I kind of have this feeling because, this is the last movie with Legendary, if I'm remembering correctly, right? Toho gets the rights back after this, right? Is that...
I don't know if there's we get it back after this aspect to it. I feel like it's more of we'll see what happens with this movie and then go from there.
Okay. It's not like the rights back to Godzilla.
Right? Or if they're loaning them for these movies as long as they want to keep going.
Okay.
It's not like Toho can't say any. Like, I mean, for one thing, the reason you can't see more kaiju is because Toho still owns all of these characters. So you only get so many of them, and they have to create new ones instead.
And if they lose Godzilla,
money to do that.
No, right.
Doesn't
Kong is
Legendary
a
also
different
have
beast
like
of
a
copyright.
Doesn't Legendary also have like a Monsters Universe like lineup? Like they have like a bunch of Kong movies that they want to do.
Not right now.
Not really.
I mean that maybe down the line.
Yeah.
But I mean the truth is, especially with things right now, I don't think Legendary is thinking too far ahead. This was always planned as like a 4-film cycle, essentially.
Yeah.
Like
it was going to culminate with this, and then kind of go from there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What the focusing, as you notice, the Netflix show for Kong. Do note with Kong, he is a completely different entity from all the Toho stuff. Kong is actually run and owned by the Marion C. Cooper Foundation. Marion C. Cooper was the guy who created Kong. He did the original 1933 film, and everything is based off of his estate and what the estate approves. Sadly, Toho and the Marion C. Cooper thing, they had a falling out after Kong versus Godzilla, and Kong escapes, and they immediately lost the rights when Godzilla was with Kong, because they thought the two films were terrible, and that's why Kong isn't in any Godzilla movies until now. They were never able to get the rights back to Kong to use him for like the 80s or 90s stuff because of the rights issues with Kong, and they couldn't even use Mecha Kong. My thing is, if
it's kind of the Mecha Kong thing is like there's a little bit of like we don't know if we are allowed to do it.
Actually, did you hear about this, Aaron? They tried to use Mecha Kong in the 80s, but they couldn't because of the likeness to Kong, because of the Marion C. Cooper Foundation hated the movies.
Yeah, it's like kind of hazy here. We don't want to get in trouble, so let's develop other things instead.
If Legendary loses Godzilla and Toho gets him back, you're not getting the Marion C. Cooper Foundation to approve a Kong and Toho collaboration. So if they lose Godzilla, you're just going to get Kong movies, and you're going to get Godzilla movies, but you will not get Kong versus Godzilla movies if they lose the rights. I hope I'm making sense to that. Yeah.
I mean, it's a never say never type of scenario, though.
Yeah,
we're literally going to get Godzilla versus Kong movie in a month from now. So it's like things happen.
The thing with the Toho situation is, though, the special effects guy Willis O'Brien had a idea to pit Kong versus Frankenstein with the Marion C. Cooper Foundation. Toho came in, stole his idea, and took out Frankenstein, put in Godzilla, and distributed it without Willis O'Brien's approval. And that was where the fallout came from. So if Toho were to try to get Kong back, there's a lot of loopholes in two estates, actually, Willis O'Brien's and Marion C. Cooper's. So hopefully, never say never, but I'm not really optimistic about it. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Damn, son.
Wow.
I just learned so much.
Yeah, you can even Google it. It's all up there. But if you watch the documentary RKO Kong, it's all explained and stuff.
We have been Clark, y'all.
Yeah, I feel like Chris needs to give a TED Talk specifically about King Kong.
I could go on about
that. I mean, we've talked a lot about Godzilla. The other
you want to hear the reverse as far as why we got the MonsterVerse?
Yeah,
go for that.
Because it's really fun. When Godzilla versus Hedorah came out, the director Yoshimitsu Banno, who made that film, and this was after Destroy All Monsters and after All Monsters Attack, which is a relatively low point for most fans of Godzilla. All Monsters Attack is not a great movie. I think it has its charm, but it's, for all intents and purposes, not a great movie. So they decided, okay, let's try something different. They went with Hedorah. Hedorah's a weird fucking movie, guys. It's great. I think it's great, but at the time, because of all the weird choices it made as far as stylistically going, like with a director who just hadn't made a movie before, it was a weird reaction, and they pivoted back to that's when you got Gigan and Megalon afterwards, which are more standard Godzilla movies. But regardless, Banno was fired from Toho. They're like, not only did this movie not work, you're out of here. This is not a thing for you. He continued on to want to keep making Godzilla movies to the point of eventually wanting to make a thing much later called Godzilla 3D to the Max, a 3D Godzilla movie that would be like a short that would be in IMAX theaters, which to me sounds like the best thing possible.
Yes.
Like, imagine every time you go to the IMAX and you're going to see like whatever bullshit on screen, but they're like, before we show this, here's a short 3D Godzilla movie, which would be like, that'd be the best for me. Regardless, never came to fruition, despite like all attempts. Which would have been wonderful. Am I still on?
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
Didn't happen. But Banno was heavily involved with talking to Thomas Sowell and like legendary folks about wanting to make a new Godzilla movie, despite after the whole Emmerich thing. Years later, he got in like touch with people and he still wanted to make his 3D to the Max thing, but whatever. But negotiations were basically held because of Banno, a man who was fired from Toho for his other Godzilla movie, to come in and reunite like America with Godzilla again and make the MonsterVerse possible. He passed away. Before King of the Monsters. I think it was after 2014 because he's given a special thanks to him and the suit actor that played the original Godzilla. They're in the end credits for King of the Monsters. But Banno is like, he is responsible for us having a MonsterVerse by like basically reuniting these two companies together, which I just thought really neat. The guy that got fired from Godzilla came back to make more Godzilla for a whole new audience and a whole new generation.
That's really awesome. Honestly.
That's really awesome. Huh. Yeah, it kind of did build that kind of. I'm assuming, Aaron, you heard about all the Godzilla vs. Kong stuff with Frankenstein, correct? With how they screw that over. Yeah, there was a lot of tea there. It's a lot of tea. So, but yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
Now, Maxwell, I know you enjoyed a lot of Godzilla movies through college.
Yeah, I watched a lot of like the Showa era ones in college, and then when the Criterion set came out a couple years ago, I got it and have not really dived back in like I had hoped to, but it's still on my ever-increasing list of content to consume because there's just a non-stop barrage of content coming from every which direction.
Yep.
But yeah, like I love the original, I love Shin Godzilla, and I really also like the 2014 Godzilla for pretty much exactly what Aaron said. It's patience, it's slow build, it is very Spielbergian or Jaws-esque in approach. It emphasizes the human characters so that when Godzilla finally does hit, the impact is felt that much harder. And it has some really stunning visuals in there. No, you're good.
There's a great emphasis on scale, which I really appreciate. Like the Edwards' goal with that was to never show Godzilla from like a camera that doesn't make sense. It's always from some kind of human level or some kind of grounded level, which is again just emphasizes how big these things are. Mm-hmm. And the entrance to him, like you mentioned, when it just like his foot stomps down and then you see from like the airport. There's so much of that throughout that movie where it's just like, this is how you do it. Like,
I love that. I think it's so impressive. But what's funny to me is I think that, let's ignore Skull Island for a second, the two Godzilla movies in the MonsterVerse, to me, are like the perfect example of how people on the internet say they know what they want, but then when they're given what they want, they don't want that either because... Yeah, the Edwards 2014 Godzilla was relatively well liked. It did well at the box office. It got pretty good critical reviews. There's a lot of people who like it, but there's also a subset of people who complained how slow it was, how there wasn't enough Godzilla, how do you make a Godzilla movie and not show him? Criticism. Well, it is what it is. Yeah. And they said, we want more Godzilla, we want fighting, we want this and that, which is what you get almost nonstop in King of the Monsters. And they're like, well, not like that. That's too much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's by the way, as far as those two movies go, that's a good example of filmmakers complimenting each other off of the films they made, as opposed to one person makes one thing and another says, I don't like that, I'm going to do my own thing, and then disobeys all kind of continuity and makes it really annoying to watch, and then you think, oh, there's a 9-film saga, and the last one's really bad.
Aaron, there's 12 films. I hate to break it to you.
Are we talking about
I'm kind of an expert. Films?
We're talking about Stars.
Well, so
Starzilla.
Because I rewatched Skong. I was going to call it Skong Island. Skong Island.
Skunk.
Sorry, I just have stonks on the mind all week. Because I watched Skull. I was gonna call it Skull Kong Island now.
Live Moth, guys.
Welcome to the Unwind. Because I watched that film that Jordan Vaught Roberts made this week.
Kong Skull Island, Maxwell.
Yes, Kong Skull Island, which I love a lot. And I the end credits scene where Brie Larson's character and Tom Hiddleston's characters are sort of introduced to the bigger world of Monarch and that there are other monsters out there. Like, I know theoretically that Godzilla vs. Kong is supposed to be the end of the MonsterVerse for now, and I think it's going to be really difficult for us to understand if it's a hit or not because can't trust whatever numbers HBO Max is going to give us, and its box office receipts are going to be muted because of this little thing going on called a pandemic.
Well, I'll be curious what the worldwide is because there is an appeal there.
Yeah, no, sure, yeah. And for what it's worth, I think it will be heavily watched on HBO Max. I think I think it will drive more subscribers.
Something like 46 million.
I'm sure the success will be if they make another one, then it was a hit.
Sure, but my point is the other one I would like to see is going back in time, back to Hiddleston and Brie Larson, exploring more of the different kaiju that are out there.
Well, I have a feeling that I'm kind of seeing some potential that the animated series picks up with them.
Yeah,
I see that.
I'm thinking that.
That could be cool. I didn't even occur to me that they might be like characters. That's interesting.
Yeah. Because
I know we had talked about we had kind of talked about privately in our little group chat that hey, we'd love to see a little bit more from the natives.
We chat when we're not streaming.
No.
Okay. Oh, okay. All right. Okay.
Hypothetically, we talked about maybe it would focus on the Skull Islanders and all that. But yeah, I actually, in my opinion, think it will probably focus on Hiddleston and Larson's
That's
characters.
Interesting. That could actually be really fun. Because I think from what we've seen in King of the Monsters and hinted at in Skull Island, Monarch is a really cool organization that they built in this MonsterVerse. And I think there's a lot of fun stuff to explore.
The comics delve into that too, obviously.
Yeah. I'm gonna get some of those.
I'm gonna send you the links.
Yeah, you send me the links. But I think that could be a really fun way to. You could even do like slightly smaller budget MonsterVerse movies where it's not necessarily giant kaiju battles, but exploring some of the smaller strange creatures and what Monarch has going on.
Yeah,
I don't disagree with you, but it's just we never get that. Like, it's always fun to say we should be focused smaller, but I completely agree. That would be great if we because we could reasonably budget something and deliver something on that level. But it's just the idea is always, what if we went bigger? Like, that seems to always be like the studio logic. Like, well, that one wasn't as successful. What if we just added more money and different monsters? Like, what?
I was gonna say and bring in Samuel L. Jackson, but he's already been in the MonsterVerse.
Yeah, because he's in Skull Island.
So bring in The Rock. Just cross it over with Rampage.
Hey, RDJ needs a new job.
I forgot Samuel L. Jackson was the bad guy in Kong Skull Island. I don't know how I did that.
Kinda, yeah.
Kind of. He's kind of a bad guy, but not really. But yeah.
Well, I mean, all his friends got killed, so. I shouldn't have said that.
I mean, he's the human bad guy, but the bad guy is the Skullcrawler.
The lead Skullcrawler?
Yeah.
Joe the Skullcrawler?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's play Crystal Ball a little bit before we get out of here. What do you guys expect in Godzilla vs. Kong? Any predictions? Who's gonna win? Any speculations?
So I think Sean raising his hand.
Who's going?
I was just about to say I saw Sean's hand first, and PJ started talking, so I'm going to ignore the one who is rude. And yes, Mr. Sullivan.
I would like to quote Max von Sydow in saying, "Long live the king." And when I say king, I mean King of the Monsters.
You fucker.
And not King Kong. I rest my case.
I love this. Side note, I would read I was joking, or was I? Yesterday, would anyone read my series of novels about Jimmy Woo, paranormal investigator, who moonlights as a children's birthday party magician on the weekends?
So, I finally, my girlfriend and I, we watched the WandaVision episode. We watched 3 and 4 last night. And the close-up magic, that killed me.
So good.
Because that's such a... it's weird to think I feel like for me, it's like I've seen the movies, so like I get what they're doing, but it just felt like that's such a great joke to like pull off right there.
And now, of course, there's like 30 different like super cuts on Twitter because in Ant-Man and the Wasp, he's like, "Come on, Scott, how'd you do it?" And you think he's being like, "How did he escape?" Blah blah. The magic trick, and then you see him like practicing, but then here he just slide in.
It's such like he's leveled up since Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Yeah.
We stand Jimmy Woo in this house.
We
God
sure
damn.
do. We do. So that's the end of your prediction that Godzilla wins. That's all you got?
No, you asked what we wanted. That's what
Sure.
I want. I'm not predicting anything. I know that Toho isn't going to let us Americans ruin that again. It's probably in the contract that Kong can't beat Godzilla. I guarantee you, somewhere in the contract from Toho it says Godzilla cannot be beaten. Just like The Rock and Vin Diesel's contracts for Fast and the Furious.
I would like to know that they did have to go to the Marion C. Cooper Foundation to get this made, and there might be a caveat in the contract where Kong has to win, and that might have been the only way they agreed to
Godzilla
it.
doesn't exactly win in King Kong versus Godzilla either.
Well, he doesn't win at all.
And look, I was on the phone earlier with Millie Bobby Brown's agent, and she had a speculation in her contract that she had to defeat both of them. She can't lose.
Oh, she turned into Mothra too.
So,
maybe, I don't know.
So, I sort of expect a very similar situation to Batman versus Superman, where in the third act they have to team up to defeat a bigger threat. I also feel 60% strongly that Mechagodzilla is appearing in this movie.
Whoa, Maxwell, why would you say that?
I actually think
all I'll say is rewatch the trailer.
Well, I actually think that the Godzilla in the trailer is Mechagodzilla with a skin, because that doesn't seem like Godzilla is himself. I don't know if that makes sense to you guys or not.
Well, as Kyle Chandler very well said in the trailer, Godzilla's out there and he's hurting people, and we don't know why. It's
Yeah, I feel like he's either brainwashed or that he is Mechagodzilla with a skin. Which also means that there's going to be a human element to this, because there is going to be a human bad guy that is manipulating the situation, I think.
Yeah, and it's
makes me excited.
It's the patriarch of the Lannister family.
Yeah, it's Charles
Max
Dance.
von Sydow, yeah.
Yeah.
No, Charles
Because
Dance.
If you
I
guys
know
don't-
they're different people, but it's funny because I always get them confused.
Now, first, okay, let's take this back for just a brief second here. Let's look into this. So, first of all, Charles Dance is alive, whereas Max von Sydow is not.
I know.
Yeah,
And
Kylo
secondly, we don't talk about it here so much, but you do compete in a professional Star Wars trivia league, and Max von Sydow is in Star Wars.
Mm-hmm. You're right. I got that as a round one question in my first match.
So that's
my question though is: do you think we're going to see aged up versions of Tom Hiddleston and Brie Larson? And do you think we'll see John C. Reilly again, because Kong is his buddy?
It's very dependent.
I would love to see an aged up John C.
Reilly was what, in his 50s in Kong Skull Island.
Yeah, he'd be in his 80s, so these could be.
I hope if any of those characters are in there, I hope it's not only not new actors, but it's like Guy Pearce level of makeup from Prometheus on top of them.
Well,
yeah, I would love that.
Because
Joe specifically that. So they're just not only
Mechagodzilla
old,
pulling
they're
a Dwight
distractingly
Schrute
old.
with his.
Like,
well,
they just
because
look like-
Joe Morton is playing one of the characters.
Corey
yeah,
Hawkins'
he's Corey Hawkins' character. They didn't do a very good job of making that known within the movie itself, but he is the older version of Corey Hawkins' character from Skull Island.
I
It's known
didn't
to
even
people
put them
that pay
together.
attention. I mean, the kind of people that know that, they say are, they're a similar class to the people that watch the MCU and know all the single details there.
I
What are you
missed
whatting
that.
right now, Sean?
I missed that.
Wait,
I totally
who
missed
is-
that also.
Who is who from what?
So Joe Morton.
Wow, you're right.
Yeah,
is Corey
Joe
Hawkins'
Morton
character from
plays
Skull Island.
Corey Hawkins' character from Skull Island in Godzilla King of the
They
Monsters.
should have kind
And
of.
he's in the Monarch research facilities where Mothra is.
Guys, you should know how this works. There's only one
And
black
not
guy
even
in the
put two and
Godzilla
two
universe,
together.
so
Okay.
that's how it is.
I never put that together.
I hope he appears in the next one to make that more clear.
No, it is not James Cromwell. It's Charles Dance.
Wow.
Yeah, so that
blew my mind.
I'm glad that Aaron and I were the two who knew.
Oh, Aaron knew. Okay, never mind. So it's not as surprise. Okay. Wow.
Well, PJ, you only write movie trivia professionally.
That's true. That is true.
That's true.
As far as expectations go, I mean, yeah, if we're going to talk about the Mechagodzilla thing, there's probably, from what it looks like, based off watching the trailer and just logic, that there's going to be some kind, like, I mean, the Batman v Superman thing is a good comparison as far as what's going on here. Regardless if it's Godzilla in disguise or Godzilla being brainwashed, I'm still pretty certain that there's going to be a Mechagodzilla in this, and I've tried to like stop myself from researching this more because I know there's a lot of stuff out there already that more or less confirms certain things that might be happening. That said, regardless of whether that is the case, I would love there to be a Mechagodzilla in this movie because the idea of what I like, I know what superhero movies look like. I've seen a lot of them. I don't know what 2021's Mechagodzilla would look like.
Exactly.
Rendered on a giant screen, like they had giant Mechagodzilla. Let alone the plot of Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla, which involves a disguised Mechagodzilla. Like, I want to see that happen. I want to see King Kong like rip off Godzilla's face, Scooby-Doo style, go what, and then it's like, oh my god, it's not Godzilla at all.
Well, and I mean, it's kind of. Mechagodzilla is kind of the only thing we're really, really, really missing from this equation.
I mean, there's plenty of things you can throw in. I mean, there's plenty of kaiju you can throw in from the Godzilla universe, but in terms of, like, one of his major foes, we got a Ghidorah, we got a Mothra, we got Rodan, who's a dick. We might as well throw it, he's a dick, don't worry about it. But we haven't got a Mechagodzilla, which is, it's one of his key antagonists. Like, Mechagodzilla next to Mothra is like one of the more popular ones. Like when they made the High Sea films were coming out in the 90s, Mothra was like a huge box office hit. Then Mechagodzilla came out. They're like, that was a huge hit too. Then when the Millennium films hit, they made Mechagodzilla. I'll back up. I'm rambling. But in the Millennium series, the idea there were the High Sea era. People don't know there's different eras of Godzilla films. So I don't need to sum that up too much. But in the Millennium era, in the High Sea era, there was a continuity shared between all of these movies. In the Millennium era, it was more like an anthology series, and so you had like every film was like a different like step in Godzilla. And so when they made another Mechagodzilla movie, why am I the only one on screen right now? They made the Mechagodzilla movie, and it was so popular that they're like, let's make a sequel to that one. Even though it's an anthology series where they're all supposed to be separate Godzilla movies, they're like, look, we're going to make a sequel directly to this one because it's a hit. So like, people like Mechagodzilla. People are a big fan of that. I'm done.
That was beautiful.
No, that was awesome. Yeah. I think for me, I kind of said it earlier. I want to see the Hollow Earth explored. They talked so much about it in Skull Island, and I think that the idea of like them being in the Hollow Earth in some way and us seeing more monsters and like that being a battleground in the movie could be super fun. Because I think there's a lot to explore.
We went there in King of the Monsters. So it's like, more of that.
Yeah, like I want to see more of that. Like, let's make this a thing. The Hollow Earth. Let's go.
Get a big portrait of Ken Watanabe going and put it up in there somewhere.
Is this the PJ Campbell Network or TEDx? That's fun.
Can I just say I love that Solid Slate watches our content now. He's a good guy.
He is a good dude.
I really like Solid Slate. Solid Slate's
Anyone else have any final thoughts about what to expect? I mean, I think it's going to be enjoyable for sure. I mean, my expectations are that it'll be good.
I hope it ends Rocky 3 style.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like after everything's cleared up, the dust is settled, they're back on Skull Island, and they're like lounging and getting Godzilla walking stuff. It's like, if we just had 3 more rounds, I would have had you. Then they like do one of those freeze frame endings. This one's gonna be one.
I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna just say that I think maybe Mechagodzilla might be too obvious. I feel like there might be some curveball in it. I don't know. I don't know if they'll go the Mecha route. I hope they. I mean, I just want to see Kong kill Godzilla, and he's the new face of the franchise.
So there's an interesting point that I discussed with Jake Berlin, and William Bibiani also tweeted something to this effect, in that they have never referred to Kong as King Kong.
No, they have not, and that's important.
In this they alluded to him as being the king of Skull Island, stuff like that. So I do see a scenario wherein, at least at some part in the movie, he defeats Godzilla so that he becomes King Kong, and then they have to team up, something like that. Like, it seems like a way to give him his moniker and ascend to kingdom.
He was chained up. Was there a reason? Crown. Like, yeah, with him chained up in the boat, I'm wondering if maybe there's going to be some sort of thing where that's where you get the King Kong, because maybe that's a boat where maybe Carl Denham runs that ship, and they tried to. I don't know what did from the trailer. I assume they just are capturing the to help him. To help with defeating Godzilla, is that what I'm assuming from the trailer?
Yeah, like they're bringing him somewhere or something to deal with something.
Yeah, it gives off a lot of the 33 vibes. Yeah.
Here's something that's been
go ahead.
Something that's been getting at me a little bit because obviously I want to like this movie, and I more or less like most of Adam Wingard's films. So like, yeah, let's do this. I keep looking at Kong like it's a big Kong. Like, I'm not going to deny, that's a big Kong. He's much bigger. I've seen the scale, like, he's giant. And, like, look at his, like, giant finger and the little girl standing next to it. Hey, there's a big Kong. How big are aircraft carriers? Because I feel like...
Yeah, so I don't
quite get the scale here.
We've had this discussion.
Aaron, I think we're going to have to... You, me, and David B. are going to have to hijack the network and talk about that at another point, because... That's a whole other thing.
So this is not the first time that has been brought up.
The aircraft carrier thing.
And on the one hand, it's a legitimate logistical concern. And on the other hand, I do not give a flying fuck whatsoever.
Like I said, Aaron...
Like, there's a part of me that doesn't want to care about this, but it's a series that has gone out of its way to emphasize scale. So when I see Kong, who... is that big, standing fine on top of an aircraft carrier, which I think he's bigger than at this point, let alone the helicopters that are next to him. It just seems, seems weird to me. Like, it seems weird that Godzilla and Kong can both stand on an aircraft carrier.
Maybe it's a simulation like Rocky Balboa.
I hope so. That's I hope that's what it is. I hope Alexander Skarsgård walks in and is like, guys, okay, I know we got a lot of problems.
This has been my thought. What if it's not a normal aircraft carrier? That's been my whole thing. Like, it could be something else. Like, it could have been.
That's my hope. I just see the image where there's the helicopter sitting next to it.
Because we have to assume it's Monarch. It's not like a normal military.
I'll be honest. In a movie where there's two 4,000-foot giant monsters that would realistically collapse on their own weight and not be able to eat their own body mass, I don't think the weight of a fucking aircraft carrier is what was on the fucking filmmakers' minds.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I mean, how many bananas does that guy need?
Hold on here. Two things. One, we don't know their bodies. We don't know the structure of their bodies. They can support their weight because I'm seeing them do it right there. As far as what they eat, they don't eat food. They eat fucking radiation or whatever. So it doesn't matter though. They eat their body weight.
Oh shit, Chris! He's got dunked on.
Oh, you know what?
Oh,
you know what?
I'm just saying, it's not like the series hasn't not thought about this, regardless of how realistic it's supposed to be. There's an internal logic that it
I thought that was a car driving by my fucking house. Oh my god.
Oh boy.
The only thing I gotta say is, like, I think it is a mecha. I don't think it's a mecha Godzilla. I think it's a mecha built from, like, the head of Ghidorah that they find at the end of King of the Monsters.
Good.
I'm all for that.
Because Charles Dance is seen with that head at the end, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And usually the Mecha Godzillas, I mean, depending which one, right? But they've always built from the remains of some kind of former kaiju, specifically Godzilla. So I could see them making.
Hi,
this
Jill.
Mecha, hi, Jill. I could see them making this mecha off of the remains of Ghidorah from the previous film.
The later Mechagodzilla film, like the first Mechagodzilla is like an alien. It's like built by aliens. But the other one, yeah, like it's built off the bones of a Godzilla. In the Millennium series, it's the bones of the original 1954.
The original 1954 Godzilla, yeah.
Which then haunts like the Japan, and so they have to like take it back to the sea. And it's such a.
I forget that there's like so many different versions of Godzilla.
There's like 5 timelines of Godzilla, right?
I mean, there's the Showa era timeline, then there's the Heisei era timeline, then the Millennium films are all just kind of their own thing.
And there's the
then there's the Roland Emmerich,
and even the Showa ones. It's not like there's a continuity. Like some Destroy All Monsters is set like in the present, where like another one's set way in the future. Like it just kind of goes all over the place.
Look, I'm gonna just put this out there right now. I think we need this exact crew back in about 2 months to do a full spoiler review of this movie.
I think we're gonna do a show before Godzilla, before it comes out. Once we've watched
it immediately after, and then do a show after that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I really want to talk about it. I cannot wait.
I'm excited. I am hopeful that I'll be able to rent a theater to go see it privately and enjoy it, the big screen experience.
Yeah, a big screen experience would be very much preferred for Godzilla vs. Kong.
Yep.
Yeah, would love that.
Yeah.
New York theaters are still closed, but Connecticut's only about an hour drive, and it's not terribly expensive to rent it out with a couple of people you trust. So.
Here's another question: when do we get a fucking game for Godzilla in like the legendary universe? Like, well, how this shouldn't be that hard.
There was a game like that for the GameCube called Destroy All Monsters. That's
we
like a
recently got a Godzilla game.
Yeah, that's
recently, right?
What decade is that from? Let's get a new game.
2002.
Chris still plays N64.
Yeah,
he does.
Still,
I'm sitting over there. Doesn't mean I don't want a new Godzilla game.
No. Yeah, no, but a new one in that vein would be terrific.
There's a Godzilla game that came out in 2014 for the PS4.
Yeah, and it was what it is. Let's get a new one. That's good.
It is what it is. Yeah, that's true.
And a new Rampage would be great.
That seems like a no-brainer. It's weird that there wasn't a new Rampage when a Rampage.
A new Rampage is great because you don't have to worry about the licensing. It's just a bunch of giant monsters destroying.
That's a kaiju movie I actually quite enjoy. It's quite. I mean, first of all, if you hired Jeffrey Dean Morgan and just say whatever you're thinking of doing, like go one step further, you're onto something. That man can chew the scenery. And boy does he in that movie.
Which also was that? In all things now, like that's his thing.
Yeah.
Rampage
I want to go on the ride again. I want to go to Universal and ride. Just want to go on a roller coaster, you guys. Fuck.
There's a Rampage ride?
No, Kong Skull Island ride.
That ride's awesome.
It is really cool.
The last time I've been to Universal with the Kong ride was the Confrontation, which sadly
Confrontation.
It was
called
a
Kong-frontation.
You were on a rail and you would go around and Kong would be destroying buildings. It was a giant, like 50-foot puppet. It was fun, and he had banana breath. It was great.
See, I'm over here in SoCal, so I got Universal Studios where they do the tram tour. They have Peter Jackson's King Kong 360 experience.
Yeah, that used to actually be part of that got burned down.
Hi, my love. How are you, Bador? So the Kong ride at Universal Florida is based on the portion of the tram tour, but it's expanded upon. It involves animatronics and exterior sets, but
directed
like a good portion of it is still like you go and there's like the wraparound screens and but it's enhanced from that.
What is it with Florida and all this space they got for like building more stuff on these rides? Like this sounds awesome.
Yeah, unlike California, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna just pull up this image real quick to make Chris happy. Oh, where does it go?
The queue is pretty fun too, but
the queue has characters who pop out. So this was Kongfrontation. So you were in the Roosevelt Island tram, and the track was overhead, and that's how close you got. And the fire effects were real. It was really cool.
Yeah,
there's definitely some good YouTube.
Yeah. And the original subway station, which is now the Mummy Ride, was originally like a New York subway. I remember that.
Although for what it's worth, the Mummy Ride is great, and it is better and longer in Florida than it is. But this is a whole other show. This is a whole other. Then again, this is the Unwind, so you can really talk about whatever.
It is common.
All right, guys. This has been a lot of fun. Thank you so much to our guests. Why don't we go around and say where we can find yourselves online? What do you got to promote? Let's start with our Godzilla enthusiast, Professor Aaron.
You can find me. You can find me a lot of places. I write movie reviews over at WeLiveEntertainment.com. I write Blu-ray reviews over at WiseBlue.com. I host my podcast with my friend Abe. It is called Out Now with Aaron and Abe. We talk about weekly movie releases, and we also do the occasional commentary track. That's everywhere you can find podcasts. I occasionally have some stuff. Actually, I might have. I can't talk about it yet, but there's some stuff coming brewing for Variety that I'll be involved with as well. And I'm also on Twitter at AaronCS4.
Thank you, Brandy. And this is his website where he collates everything. The code is Zeke.com. Thank you, Brandy. Brandy always coming in hot.
Everything I do ends up over there.
With the links. What about you, Mr. Benitez?
Oh, you just doxed me on the internet like that?
Oh, I'm sorry. Is that not supposed to be a thing?
Public information?
I'm trying. Shh. Now it is, I guess.
Oh my god.
Do you want my social security number too?
Oh my god.
Well, I'm leaving.
What is your social security number, David?
It's 123.
Okay.
56.
56.
7890.
Wait a minute, that's fucking shit. I can't fucking. I wanted to know.
I mean, look, if you look hard enough, you probably could. Docs. Is this a docs that rocks, or is it a docs?
Oh, God.
Well, now you know where to find me. Just put my name anywhere.
And as for the rest of us, look, you guys already know where to find us. You got PJ_Campbell. You've got Chris8788. The numbers, not the letters. Tudum Sully, Sean Sully, whatever. It's both. But so, yeah. Thanks to everyone for joining us tonight. As always, our next show will be tomorrow
Max,
in the afternoon. If you haven't caught it, we're going to go ahead and do Box, and then tomorrow night we got the patron AMA, but that's about it. So once again, thank you all so very much, and we will see you next time.
Thanks for having me.
Please leave this office.
Do we get any sort of souvenir?
Get out of my office!
I'll be back.
I gotta pay.
Throw me a frickin' bone here. I'm the boss. Need the info.
Shut the fuck up, Donnie.
Heavy is the head that eats the crayons. I'm gonna take a nap. See you in 10 hours.
Dude, I almost had you. You almost had me. You never had me.
I like your style, dude.
End of line.